The bright morning sun shone through the window of Captain June Kim's office at the United Earth Space Force headquarters. He straightened his blue uniform and looked at the calendar on his desk. Today was the day that would change human history, forever. "Captain, they're here," said a young officer who rushed into the room without knocking. His face was pale. June stood up quickly. "How many ships?" "Just one, sir, but it's huge, bigger than anything we've ever built." June nodded and grabbed his cap. "Tell Dr. Park and Ambassador Lee to meet me at the landing pad and make sure the welcome committee is ready." For decades, humans had sent messages to the stars hoping for a response. 3 months ago, they finally got one. A simple transmission that said, "We are coming." No one knew what to expect, but everyone felt the weight of this moment. Dr. Sue Park was already at the landing pad when June arrived. She was checking something on her tablet, her forehead wrinkled with concentration. Sue was Earth's best xenobiologist, though until today she had never seen an actual alien. "Any predictions?" June asked her. Sue looked up and shook her head. "Science is about observation, Captain. I don't like to guess." Ambassador Hannah Lee joined them moments later. She was younger than both June and Sue, but she had united Earth's fighting nations through skillful talks and strong determination. If anyone could speak for all humans, it was Hannah. "Are we ready?" she asked, smoothing down her formal dress. "As ready as we'll ever be," June replied. The alien ship appeared suddenly in the sky. There was no sound, no wind, no sign of engines. One moment the sky was empty, and the next, a massive silver vessel hung in the air above them. It was shaped like a perfect sphere, so shiny it reflected the clouds and buildings below. A beam of soft blue light shot down from the ship to the landing pad. Inside the light, figures began to take shape. 3 tall beings stepped forward. They looked almost human in basic shape. 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head. But their skin glowed with an inner light that shifted colors like moving stars. Their eyes were large and completely black, with no whites or pupils. Hannah stepped forward first as planned. "Welcome to Earth. I am Ambassador Hannah Lee, representing the United Nations of Humanity." The tallest alien looked at her. Its face showed no expression that humans could read. "I am Elder Voss of the Stellar Conclave," it said in perfect English, though its mouth didn't seem to move. "We govern 15 species across this sector of the galaxy." June felt his heart beat faster. 15 species. Humanity was not alone, not by far. The elder continued, "We have observed your broadcasts for many of your years. Now we must determine if your species is ready to join the galactic community." Dr. Park stepped forward. "We have prepared information about our biology, technology, and culture. We're eager to share knowledge with you." The second alien lifted a small device. "That will not be necessary. We will conduct our own tests." Before anyone could respond, a wide beam of light spread out from the aliens, covering the entire landing area. June felt a tingling sensation across his skin. He tried to move, but couldn't. The light pulsed several times, changing color from blue to green to white. Then, as suddenly as it started, the beam vanished. June could move again. "The initial scan is complete," said the elder. "Now we require a demonstration of your technological achievements." For the next 6 hours, the aliens visited Earth's best research centers, power plants, and space facilities. They said very little, only asking occasional questions that made even the smartest scientists struggle for answers. Their faces never showed if they were impressed or disappointed. As the day ended, they returned to the landing pad where they had first arrived. A larger crowd had gathered now. Thousands of people hoping to catch a glimpse of humanity's first alien visitors. The elder Voss stood before the 3 human representatives. Now all 15 members of the alien delegation formed a circle around them. "We have reached our decision," the elder announced. His voice was somehow louder now, carrying across the entire area so everyone could hear. June held his breath. This was the moment. "Your species is unprepared," the elder said flatly. Your genetic structure is too unstable, your technology too primitive, your history too violent. You are judged unworthy of joining the stellar conclave." A heavy silence fell over the crowd. Hannah stepped forward, her diplomatic training keeping her voice steady despite the shocking words. "Elder Voss, we understand we have much to learn, but surely we could begin as junior members or observers. We are peaceful now, and eager to grow." The third alien spoke for the first time. "Your peace is recent and fragile. Your unity is barely a decade old. We have seen 1,000 worlds follow the same path. Technological advancement without spiritual evolution leads to self-destruction." "Then guide us," Dr. Park insisted. "If you see our potential failings, help us avoid them." The elder's skin flashed with colors, the first sign of any emotion they had shown. "That is not our way. Each species must prove their worthiness or remain isolated." June was about to speak when the elder raised a hand, silencing him. "However, there is a more urgent matter to discuss," the alien continued. "This sector is scheduled for stellar reformation. Your son will be included in the process." "Stellar reformation?" Dr. Park repeated. "What does that mean?" "We reshape stars to serve higher purposes. Your son will be transformed in 15 of your Earth years. The process is not compatible with planetary life." The meaning sank in slowly, then all at once. They were talking about destroying the sun, or changing it in a way that would kill all life on Earth. "You can't do that," June said, forgetting diplomatic protocol. "Our entire civilization is here, billions of lives. You have 15 years to evacuate your system," the elder stated. "This is generous by conclave standards. The decision is final." With those words, the aliens began to fade, becoming transparent as some kind of transportation technology activated. "Wait," Hannah called out. "Please reconsider." But they were already gone. Only the massive ship remained above them, and even that began to rise higher into the atmosphere. The crowd behind them erupted in panic and questions. Security forces moved forward to maintain order. June stood frozen, watching the alien ship grow smaller against the sky. "What do we do now?" Dr. Park whispered. June turned to face his colleagues, determination hardening his features. "We don't beg for a place among the stars," he said firmly, "and we don't run from our home." Hannah looked at him. "What are you suggesting?" "If the stars judge us unworthy," June replied, watching the alien ship disappear into the darkness of space, "then we'll have to prove them wrong." 10 years passed since the stellar conclave had judged humanity unworthy. Earth had changed in many ways. Countries that once fought each other now worked together. There was only one goal now: survival. Admiral June Kim looked out the window of his office at the massive ships being built in the distance. Once he had been just a captain. Now he led all of Earth's space forces. His hair had turned gray, and deep lines marked his face. The past 10 years had been hard. "Admiral, the meeting is about to start," said his assistant. June nodded and walked to the conference room. Around the large table sat the people who now led humanity's fight for survival. Ambassador Hannah Lee had also aged, but her eyes still showed the same determination. Dr. Sue Park bent over a tablet, reviewing data as she always did. "Let's hear the reports," June said as he took his seat. "How many people can we evacuate in the next 5 years?" A woman in a military uniform stood up. "Even with all 20 colony ships working at full capacity, we can only move about 50 million people. That's less than 1% of Earth's population." Silence fell over the room. The math was simple and terrible. They couldn't save everyone, not even close. "What about the other star systems?" Hannah asked. "Have we found any planets that could support large human populations?" "We found 3 possible worlds," said the science officer. "But they would need years of preparation before humans could live there." June rubbed his tired eyes. "So we have ships that can't carry enough people and planets that aren't ready for those we can save. There might be another way," Dr. Park said quietly. Everyone turned to look at her. "What way?" June asked. Sue stood up and walked to the large screen on the wall. She pressed a button on her tablet, and an image appeared. It was a small crystal sphere that glowed with soft blue light. "Do you remember this?" she asked. "The Conclave left it behind during their visit. For years we couldn't figure out what it was. But 3 months ago, my team made a breakthrough." She touched her tablet again, and the image changed to show stars, millions of them swirling in patterns. When we exposed the sphere to human DNA, it activated and showed us this. At first, we thought it was just a map of the galaxy, but it's much more than that. Sue zoomed in on several stars that glowed more brightly than the others. These stars are different. They burn with unusual patterns of energy that don't match any natural process we know. We believe the Conclave isn't just using these stars for energy. They're transforming them. Transforming them into what? Hannah asked. Sue's eyes shone with excitement. Into processing centers, living computers. The Conclave doesn't just harness the power of stars, they program them like we program computers. June leaned forward. "You're saying they use stars as machines?" "Yes, but it's even more amazing than that," Sue continued. "We analyze the patterns. The Conclave members themselves show the same energy signatures as these transformed stars. I believe they weren't born as the beings we met. They were created through this stellar transformation process." The room fell silent as everyone tried to understand what this meant. "Are you suggesting what I think you're suggesting?" June finally asked. Sue nodded slowly. "If we could understand and control this process, we might not need to evacuate Earth at all. We could potentially transform ourselves to survive the changes to our sun." "That's a huge leap," said one of the scientists. "You're talking about changing what it means to be human." "We're already changing," Hannah said. "Every generation adapts. This would just be a bigger step than usual." Just then, the door opened and a security officer hurried in. "Ambassador Lee, your visitor has arrived." Hannah stood up. "Send them in." A strange figure entered the room. It was short and covered in green scales. Its eyes were large and yellow with vertical pupils like a cat's. Many in the room had never seen an alien besides the Conclave members, and they stared in surprise. "This is Kier," Hannah explained. "He belongs to a species called the Myth. Like us, they were judged unworthy by the Conclave." The reptilian alien bowed slightly. "Ambassador Lee has been kind to my people. We trade information now. Kier has been helping us build a network of other rejected species," Hannah explained. "There are dozens of them scattered across this part of the galaxy, all denied membership in the Conclave, all threatened by stellar reformation." Kier placed a small device on the table. It projected a hologram of a star surrounded by unusual structures. "This is what you call a forged star," the alien said in a raspy voice. "The Conclave prepares it for transformation. The process takes many years. This star will be ready soon." June studied the image closely. "How do you know this?" "My cousin works on a Conclave supply ship," Kier explained. "Not all Conclave members agree with how the Elders treat other species. Some help us when they can." Dr. Park moved closer to the hologram. "This is exactly what we've been looking for. A star in the middle of the transformation process." She turned to face June. "If we could get close enough to study it, we might learn how to control the process." "The Conclave guards these stars carefully," Kier warned. "It would be very dangerous." June walked to the window again, looking at the evacuation ships. They represented humanity's current plan: run away and save who they could. But now there might be another option, a risky one, but with a much bigger reward. "How far is this forged star?" he asked. 6 months travel with your fastest ships," Kier replied. June turned back to the room. "Dr. Park, if you had the chance to study this star up close, could you figure out how the transformation works?" Sue thought for a moment. "I believe so, especially if we could capture some of the energy during an active transformation phase." "You're not seriously considering sending people there?" one of the military officers asked. "The Conclave would destroy any ship that approached a forged star." "Not if the ship was designed specifically for this mission," June said. His mind was already racing with ideas. Not if it could disguise itself and move quickly. Hana watched him carefully. What exactly are you proposing, Admiral? I'm proposing we stop preparing to run and start preparing to fight back, June said firmly. But not with weapons. With knowledge. He walked to the hologram and pointed at the forged star. This is suicide, one of the scientists muttered. No, Dr. Park said. It's adaptation. It's evolution. If I'm right, the process won't destroy us. It will transform us into something new, something that can survive what's coming. Hana stood beside her, something the Conclave might have to respect. June looked around the room. We have 5 years before our deadline. Let's use them to build ships that can do more than just escape. Let's build ships that can change our fate. The room was quiet, as everyone considered his words. Then Dr. Park spoke up. If we're going to walk into the fire, she said, we better make sure we come out stronger on the other side. June nodded. The stars judged us unworthy. It's time to change their minds. The underground facility was hidden deep beneath the mountains. Few people knew it existed. This was where Earth's greatest secret project was being built. Commander Min Lee walked through the massive hangar, looking up at the 5 ships that would soon carry humanity's hopes to the stars. They did not look like normal spaceships. Their hulls were made of a special metal that shimmered with an odd blue light. Their shape was unusual too, more like teardrops than the rockets or discs that humans usually built. Beautiful, aren't they? Said a voice behind him. Min turned to see his sister, Ambassador Hana Lee. She had dark circles under her eyes. Like everyone working on this project, she had not slept much in the past months. They don't look like they could survive a trip into a star, Min said. That's because they're not meant to resist the stellar fire, Hana explained. They're designed to channel it. The ships were called Prometheus, after the figure from old Earth myths who stole fire from the gods and gave it to humans. It was a fitting name for vessels meant to steal the secret of transformation from the Conclave. Is the crew ready? Hana asked. Min nodded. As ready as they'll ever be. But no one has ever done anything like this before. That's why we picked the best, Hana said. The crew for each ship had been chosen with great care. Min would lead the mission. He had studied the Conclave's language and culture for years. Chief Engineer Jin Park, the daughter of Dr. Sue Park, understood the modified alien technology better than anyone. Pilot Dai Kang had special neural implants that connected him directly to his ship. Dr. Hyun Kim, Admiral Jun's son, was an expert on human genetics. And Security Chief Yoon Choi would protect them if anything went wrong. They were all connected by family ties to the people who had met the Conclave 10 years ago. This was not an accident. Admiral Kim believed that those who started this journey should see it through to the end one way or another. A loud alarm sounded and red lights flashed on the walls. Launch preparation has started, Min said. We leave in 6 hours. Hana placed a hand on her brother's shoulder. I wish I could go with you. You have your mission here, Min replied. Someone needs to prepare Earth for whatever happens next, whether we succeed or fail. They walked together to the briefing room where the crew had gathered. Admiral Kim stood at the front, looking older than his years but still strong. Dr. Sue Park sat beside him, reviewing data on her tablet as always. Today we take our fate into our own hands, the Admiral began. The mission ahead is dangerous, I won't lie to you. No human has ever attempted anything like this. But we have no choice. In 5 years, the Conclave will return to transform our sun. Either we find a way to survive that process or humanity ends. He pointed to a large screen showing the forged star that was their destination. This star is already being prepared by the Conclave. Our friend Kier tells us that the final transformation phase will begin in approximately 7 months. You have 6 months to travel there, 1 month to observe and gather data before the process starts. Dr. Park stood up next. Your ships contain the most advanced sensors we could build. Some are based on Conclave technology we've managed to copy. They're designed to record and analyze the transformation energy. She picked up a small crystal sphere, a copy of the Conclave device they had studied. Each ship carries one of these. We believe they're meant to guide the transformation process. They respond to genetic material. In the Conclave's case, their own DNA. We've modified these to respond to human DNA instead. Jin Park raised her hand. What exactly will these do when we reach the star? Her mother looked at her with a mix of pride and worry. They should help channel the stellar energy in a way that changes whoever is exposed to it rather than simply destroying them. Changes how? Yun Choi asked. That's what we don't know, Dr. Park admitted. But based on our studies of conclave biology, we believe they were once ordinary physical beings who underwent this process. It transformed them into the entities we met, beings of energy and matter combined, with greatly expanded mental capabilities and extremely long lives. The room was quiet as everyone considered this information. So we might not come back as humans, Dr. Hyun Kim said finally. Admiral Kim nodded slowly. That's correct. If you succeed, you may return as something else, something new. And if that happens, you will be the first of a new kind of human who can survive what's coming. Min looked around at his crew. They had all volunteered knowing the risks, but hearing it stated so clearly made it real in a new way. One last thing, Admiral Kim continued. This mission is strictly secret. The public believes you're testing new deep space exploration vessels. Only a few people know the truth. The Conclave must not learn of our plan until it's too late for them to stop it. The meeting ended, and the crew members went to make their final preparations. Min walked with Pilot Day to inspect their ship one last time. Are you afraid? Day asked as they entered the Prometheus. Min thought about it. Not of dying. I'm afraid of failing. This is our only real chance to save everyone. We won't fail, Day said with confidence. My grandmother used to tell me stories about our ancestors. They survived wars, disasters, and countless hardships. Humans are good at beating impossible odds. The 6 hours passed quickly. The crews boarded their ships. Family members said goodbye, knowing they might never see each other again, at least, not in the same form. Admiral Kim stood with Dr. Park and Ambassador Lee in the control room as the hangar roof slid open, revealing the night sky above. Prometheus Fleet, you are cleared for launch, the flight controller announced. One by one, the 5 ships rose silently into the air. Their engines used a new technology that left no heat or light trail. They would be nearly impossible to detect. Once they left Earth's atmosphere, Admiral Kim watched through binoculars as the ships became small points of light and then vanished among the stars. The hard part now is waiting, Dr. Park said. 6 months to reach the Forge Star, Hana added. And then we'll know if our plan has any chance of success. On board the lead ship, Commander Min Lee watched Earth grow smaller behind them. Soon it was just a blue dot. Then nothing at all as they accelerated to speeds no human vessel had reached before. Course set for the Forge Star, Pilot Day announced. Estimated arrival in 6 months. All systems functioning normally, reported. Chief Engineer Jin Min settled into his command chair. The journey had begun. They were carrying humanity's future with them into the unknown. Remember, he told his crew, we're not just trying to save ourselves. We're trying to save everyone we left behind. Whatever happens when we reach that star, whatever we become, we do it for Earth. The Prometheus ships moved silently through space. 5 small vessels on a mission to challenge the judgment of the stars themselves. After 6 months of traveling through the emptiness of space, the 5 Prometheus ships finally reached their destination. The Forge Star looked different from regular stars. Instead of the steady yellow light of Earth's sun, this star pulsed with patterns of blue and white energy. Strange geometric shapes moved across its surface. Commander Min Lee studied the star on his view screen. It's beautiful, he said softly. And dangerous, added Security Chief Yun Choi. Look at those conclave ships. 4 large vessels hovered around the star, positioned at even distances from each other. They were silver spheres, just like the ship that had visited Earth years ago. They're controlling the transformation process, said Engineer Jin Park. She pointed to streams of energy flowing between the conclave ships and the star. They're programming it like we would program a computer. Min turned to Pilot Day Kang. Keep us in the shadow of that small moon. We need to observe without being seen. For 3 days, the Prometheus ships watched and gathered data. Dr. Kim analyzed the energy patterns while Jin studied the Conclave ship's movements. The transformation cycle is almost ready to begin, Hyun reported on the 4th day. Energy levels are building up rapidly. Min called all 5 ship captains together for a final meeting through their communication system. We've learned all we can from a distance, he told them. Now we have to make our move. The Conclave ships will detect us as soon as we leave. The moon's shadow, Yoon warned. That's why we need to move fast and follow the plan exactly, Min replied. Jin, are the modified crystals ready? Jin nodded. Each ship's crystal has been programmed with our genetic patterns. If Dr. Park's theory is correct, they should guide the transformation process to work with human DNA. Remember, Min said to all the captains, once we enter the star's corona, our ships will begin to break down. That's intentional. The special conduits will channel the energy directly to the crew chambers. After that, he paused. After that, we don't know exactly what will happen. If we succeed, we change forever, Hyun said. If we fail, we die. Either way, there's no going back to who we were. Everyone was quiet, thinking about what lay ahead. It's time, Min finally said. Take your positions. We launch in 5 minutes. On Earth, Admiral Jun Kim sat in the communications center watching the quantum screens that showed the mission's progress. These special devices could send and receive messages instantly across any distance, one of the new technologies developed for this mission. Ambassador Hannah Lee and Dr. Sue Park stood beside him. None of them had slept much in days. They're moving, June said as 5 small lights on the screen began to leave the moon's shadow. The Prometheus ships accelerated toward the forged star, flying in a perfect pentagon formation. Almost immediately, the Conclave vessels detected them. Conclave ships are changing position, reported the communications officer. They're moving to intercept. On his ship, Min saw the silver spheres turning toward them. Maintain course and speed, he ordered. Remember your training. Don't break formation until we reach the insertion point. A beam of energy shot from the nearest Conclave ship, missing the lead Prometheus by meters. They're trying to stop us without destroying us, Min realized. They want to capture us. We're being hailed, Jin reported. The Conclave is sending a message. A familiar face appeared on their screens. The Elder Voss, the same being who had judged humanity unworthy years ago. Humans, the Elder said, its voice as cold as Min remembered from the recordings. This area is forbidden to unascended beings. Retreat immediately or face destruction. Min opened a channel that would send his response not just to the Conclave, but back to Earth as well. We were judged unworthy, he said clearly. So we've come to change the verdict. With those words, he closed the communication and turned to his crew. Maximum speed, head straight for the star's corona, don't stop for anything. The 5 ships surged forward, dodging energy beams from the Conclave vessels. One beam grazed the side of the 4th ship, causing it to spin briefly before its pilot regained control. 30 seconds to corona insertion, called out Pilot Day. Min opened the channel to Earth one last time. We're about to enter the star. Whatever happens next, remember that we did this willingly, for the future of humanity. On Earth, Admiral Kim, Ambassador Lee, and Dr. Park watched as the 5 ships approached the edge of the star. The Conclave vessels continued firing, but the Prometheus ships were too fast, too close to their target. They've made it to the corona, Dr. Park whispered. The screens showed the ships entering the outer layer of the star. Their special hulls began to glow brightly as the heat and energy surrounded them. Hull temperature rising beyond design limits, Jin reported calmly, even as warning alarms sounded throughout her ship. Beginning to break down as expected. Activate the conduits, Min ordered. Jin pressed a sequence of controls. Inside each ship, the modified crystals began to pulse with light. The special conduits built into the walls opened, allowing the star's energy to flow directly into the crew chambers. On Earth's communication screens, there was chaos. Blinding light filled the camera views. The crew members could be seen briefly, their bodies outlined in brilliant energy. Then their shapes began to change, becoming less solid, more like living light. Screams came through the audio channel, not just of pain, but of shock and wonder too. Then silence. The screens went dark. Admiral Kim stared at the blank monitors. "Did it work?" he asked hoarsely. Dr. Park checked her instruments. "The ships have been completely absorbed by the star, but the energy readings are unusual. Something is happening. In there." For 3 long days there was no signal from the Prometheus crews. The Conclave ships remained in position around the Forge star, as if waiting. On Earth, Admiral Kim refused to leave the communication center. Dr. Park monitored the star's output, detecting strange patterns that matched no known phenomenon. Ambassador Lee worked tirelessly, preparing humanity for either outcome, success or the need to accelerate evacuation. On the morning of the 4th day, as hope was beginning to fade, one of the technicians shouted and pointed at the screens. "Something's emerging from the star." They all watched as a single ship appeared from within the Forge star's corona. It resembled the original Prometheus vessels in basic shape, but its hull now shimmered with the same luminescence as the Conclave. Ships. Through the viewports, 5 figures could be seen moving inside, but they were not human. Not anymore. "We have contact," said the communications officer. "They're hailing us." With shaking hands, Admiral Kim activated the communication system. "This is Earth. Prometheus mission. Do you copy?" The figure that appeared on the screen looked somewhat like Min Lee, but his skin now glowed with inner light, shifting colors, like moving stars. His eyes were larger, completely black with no whites. His voice, when he spoke, contained harmonics impossible for human vocal cords to produce. "We hear you, Earth," Min said. "We understand now." The transformed crew of the Prometheus returned to Earth 3 weeks after emerging from the Forge star. Their ship moved differently now, seeming to bend space rather than simply fly through it. It appeared in Earth's orbit without warning, much like the Conclave ship had done 15 years earlier. Admiral June Kim, Dr. Sue Park, and Ambassador Hana Lee waited at the same landing pad where they had first met the aliens. A crowd gathered behind them, kept at a distance by security forces. Everyone wanted to see the humans who had walked into a star and returned changed. A beam of soft blue light shot down from the ship. 5 figures took shape within it. They looked almost human in their basic form, but their skin glowed with shifting colors like moving stars, and their eyes were completely black. Commander Min Lee stepped forward first. Though changed, his face still held enough of his old features that his sister Hana recognized him immediately. She moved toward him but stopped, unsure if she could touch him. "It's still me," Min said, his voice layered with strange harmonics. "Different, but still me." Hana embraced her brother, finding his body solid but unusually warm. The others followed. Jin Park went to her mother, Dr. Hyun Kim to his father, while Pilot Day and Security Chief Yoon greeted the other officials. "What happened in there?" Admiral Kim asked his son. "We lost contact for 3 days. Time moved differently for us," Hyun explained. "It felt like years. The star's energy. It didn't just change our bodies, it rewrote our consciousness." Jin Park nodded. "We understand now what the Conclave truly is. They weren't born as those beings we met. They were made, just as we have been made." Dr. Sue Park studied her daughter with scientific curiosity. "Made how? What exactly did the transformation do?" "It merged our physical form with energy," Jin said. "We're no longer just matter. We're something in between." Min touched his sister's hand. "We've seen things, Hana. The Forge doesn't just transform bodies. It opens minds. We saw the patterns the Conclave fears in humanity's future, but we also saw what they missed." The group moved to a secure facility where the transformed crew could be studied and debriefed. Medical scans showed that their bodies now contained elements that hadn't existed before. Their brains operated at levels never seen in humans. "Can you show others how to do this?" Admiral Kim asked. "Can we transform more people?" Min nodded. We brought back the knowledge. We can build our own forge, here in our solar system. We can guide others through the change. But not everyone would survive it, Yoon added. It requires a certain mental and physical resilience. And not everyone would want it, Day said. It's not a small thing to become something other than human. Over the next 3 months, a plan took shape. Volunteers would undergo a carefully controlled transformation process. The first group included scientists and military personnel who understood the risks. Many succeeded, emerging changed like the Prometheus crew. Some failed, their bodies unable to handle the transformation. But with each attempt, the process improved. The transformed humans called themselves the Ascended. They retained their human identities and loyalty to Earth, but their abilities far exceeded ordinary humans. They could manipulate energy, communicate instantaneously across vast distances, and understand complex patterns in ways that normal human minds could not. Admiral Kim was among those who chose to undergo the transformation. At 62 years old, he emerged from the process looking decades younger, his body renewed by the stellar energy. "We need to prepare," he told the world leaders after his transformation. "The Conclave will not ignore what we've done." He was right. 6 months after the Prometheus mission, sensors detected a massive fleet of ships entering the solar system. This was no single vessel like before. The Conclave had sent an armada. "They're afraid," Min explained as they watched the fleet approach on the monitors. "They've never seen another species successfully use the forge. They don't know what to expect from us now." A message came from the lead Conclave ship. "Humans, you have violated our most sacred laws. Surrender your transformation technology immediately or face extinction." Ambassador Hana Lee, who had chosen to remain human, drafted the response. "We acted only to survive your deadline. We offer peace and knowledge exchange." The Conclave's answer was to launch an attack. Energy weapons fired upon Earth's orbital defenses. But the Ascended were ready. Using their new abilities, they bent space around the incoming attacks, redirecting the energy back toward the Conclave ships. The battle that followed defied conventional physics. The Ascended moved between Earth and the attackers, using their understanding of energy to create shields that the Conclave weapons could not penetrate. When they counterattacked, they did so with precise control, disabling Conclave ships without destroying them. "We don't need to destroy them," Admiral Kim told his forces. "We just need to show them we can't be destroyed." After 3 days of fighting, the Conclave fleet withdrew to the edge of the solar system. A new message came from Elder Voss. "This conflict serves no purpose. We will discuss terms." For the first time in history, the Stellar Conclave agreed to negotiate with a species they had judged unworthy. Ambassador Hana Lee led the diplomatic mission, traveling to the Conclave flagship in a vessel protected by her brother and the other Ascended. Standing before the gathered Conclave elders, Hana spoke with confidence. "You judged us unworthy because you saw only what we were, not what we could become. You feared our chaos, our adaptability, our willingness to transform. Now we offer you a choice. Recognize Earth as an equal partner in the galaxy or face the consequences of your judgment." Elder Voss studied her with those black, unblinking eyes. "You have done what no other species has accomplished in 50,000 years. You have forced the Conclave to reconsider a judgment." "We did what we had to do to survive," Hana replied. "And in doing so, we discovered something important about ourselves." The negotiations lasted weeks. In the end, the Conclave agreed to cancel the planned transformation of Earth's sun. They recognized the Ascended as a new form of life, neither human nor Conclave, but something unique. And they opened discussions about allowing other unworthy species to attempt their own transformations under careful supervision. When Hana returned to Earth, celebrations erupted around the world. Humanity had not only survived the threat of extinction, they had evolved beyond it. In a global address, Admiral Kim stood beside his son and the other members of the original Prometheus crew. "We were deemed unworthy by the stars," he said, his transformed body glowing softly with inner light. "So we walked into their fire and came out divine. Not as conquerors, not as destroyers, but as proof that worthiness isn't granted. It's earned. Across the galaxy, other species judged unworthy by the Conclave watched Earth with new hope. The myth who had helped them find the Forge Star sent a message. You have opened a door that was closed to us for generations. Humanity continued to evolve, with some choosing transformation and others remaining as they were. The Ascended and humans worked together, building a civilization that combined the best of both forms of existence. And when ships from Earth began to explore distant stars, they carried a simple message. No one has the right to judge you unworthy of the cosmos. The stars belong to all who are brave enough to walk into their fire.